Hi guys, welcome back to Drums with Oisín. This week we have the inimitable Osgar Dukes. Here he is. Check her out.
No imitation.
Her being the interview though, not Oscar. Oscar's a male.
Just about.
I wasn't referencing any specific individual.
That's perfectly fine. You were referencing me though.
No, that's what I'm saying because I wasn't doing that. I was saying her is like the interview. It's like you call a ship her.
Yes.
So the interview is also of a female gender or an instrument. Yeah, the drum kit. Like your drum kit would be a female, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez, I hope so, because well, I won't go there.
No, don't. Do you have a name for your drum kit?
I don't actually. No.
I call my first drum kit Rachel. Genuinely, that was the name of my first drum kit, and it was a premiere. And I remember, like, I got like a marker pen, and I tried to make the P on the premiere into an R.
I was gonna say there must have been
for Rachel, yeah.
Something in the original words.
Yeah.
Would you know they've just gone Premier Rachel?
No, I should have even just blacked out the P because the R.
Remier.
Remier. Rachel Remier.
Rachel Remier.
Yeah.
I used to know her.
She's a great girl.
She was really, really impressively intelligent.
She was top.
She was really great.
Yeah, she was 12 by 10 and 13 by 11
yes.
and I was 16 by... Yeah. Anyway, this week we're talking to Osgar Dukes of the group Alarmist. You're not in any other groups at the moment, are you?
No, not really.
No, not really?
As in, like, I would do some wedding band kind of stuff.
Oh, okay.
As a deaf.
Okay. We don't talk about that.
Sorry.
So
I only play with Alarmist.
Only with Alarmist. Alarmist are a band I became aware of as a result of being in a fellow instrumental band at the time. And I remember, I think it was like a mixtape that some label had put together, a Dublin label had put together, and one of the bands on it were Alarmist. I can't remember the name of the song, but I just remember thinking, holy bleep, this is unbelievable. and like it was just, it blew my mind.
Good lord.
Anyway, less gushing.
Deadly.
Oscar, drums, when did you start and what drew you to them?
Starting was a bit of a questionable thing because I didn't get a kit until I was about 16, I suppose, 15, 16 almost, but I was from the age of 11, I would have been pretending to be a drummer.
Yeah.
I remember, actually I was thinking about this, in first year in secondary school, I don't know what was going on, but the class was asked, are there any musicians? And I was not.
What are you talking about, pal? Where were we? We were talking about how you play drums and stuff.
Yeah, there's times when I find myself playing.
Yeah, and specifically, you did that when you said you got your kit when you were 16, but you pretended to be a drummer from when you were 11.
Yeah.
You were about to tell us about some situation in school where you were asked, I presume?
Well, it was just, so the class was asked who is a musician, and I decided that I was, and I put my hand up and said, yeah, I'm a drummer. Never
From that
drums.
moment on.
I was always tapping and stuff, and I realised that I could keep a rhythm.
Yeah.
Which I thought was normal, and then I realised that not everyone seems to be able to do that, and I was like, oh, this is a thing.
Yeah.
I should
Let's make use of this.
I should do the thing.
Yeah, that's good.
So that, it was about 11, and then it was years and years of trying to convince my parents that it was a good idea to get a kit, which I'm amazed they ever did, because living as we did in an attached house, I'm still blown away by the fact that I can still play drums.
Yeah.
I don't know why they still let me to do it.
Oh, sure. Just thank God they did.
Just thank goodness.
Yes,
Yeah.
great. So did you get lessons when you were 16? Did you go?
No.
Did you just decide to go and learn yourself? Or?
Yeah. I was all self-taught up until I went to college.
Yeah.
Really, I was just messing around, not having a clue what I was doing.
Nice.
Really.
YouTube and stuff, I presume, or?
No, because it would have been it would have actually been before.
I know you're young. Go on.
I am young,
Yeah.
but I'm not quite as young as I look.
That's it.
No, eventually got. But like, see, the thing is as well with all the YouTube videos and stuff, I found that you gone back 10 years, I suppose, when I was looking at the kind of like when Drummer World was the only sort of proper thing to look at. So you're dealing with videos of people doing ridiculous solos, but I didn't have a clue what anyone was doing. I would just look at it and it would just be like a mess. I'd be like, that's amazing. I don't know what happened.
And it's unattainable.
It's unattainable. I don't know if they're playing in time. I think I could see feel where the thing was, but it was sort of all lost to me. And a lot of the other, like there was no, it felt at the time anyway, there was no middle ground between the sort of simple instructional videos and the kind of ludicrous stuff. Whereas now I think like there's everything. Yeah, like Mike Johnson's stuff and all that stuff. Like every step of the way is catered for now.
There's something for everyone. Absolutely.
But then it's kind of it required going to learn a bit of not theory per se, but no, it is theory. I have to say the word theory.
Well, theory. It is, yeah, theory and technical application, I suppose, isn't it? Like,
because once you know a bit of that, then it's so much easier to learn the way you used to learn anyway, like by ear and by whatever natural causes.
Being able to think of it, being able to call on it on demand, almost, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like knowing the name for this specific sticking or whatever.
Yeah.
Being able to reference it immediately rather than it's the like it just.
Yeah.
It makes things a little bit easier. I found that anyway. I remember when I was learning and actually having a name for something, you know.
Yeah, it helps. Totally helps. And just also like all through my first 10 years of playing, like I said, I didn't know what I was doing, so I would do stuff, but I didn't know what it was, and if I would come up with something, whatever it might be, I wouldn't be able to recreate it. Actually, I still do that.
Yeah.
I still do that
Instantly forgetting what you've just done.
That's probably a wider problem.
There was a great exercise I remember someone had mentioned on this before, Andre was telling me about, where he would just sit down and play, and then if he heard something he liked, he'd go and try and just do it again. And I'd tried that, but I couldn't because I wouldn't have any idea what I'd just done. I'd be thinking about chips or something.
Chips.
But just or something, you know, not specifically, like it would have been or something else, you know. But I wouldn't have had the fish.
Yeah.
Fish or chips.
Well, I don't know. I don't know where you got the fish.
I don't know what I would have been thinking about, but it would have been something which I couldn't recall immediately. I wouldn't have an idea of what I'd just done.
Yeah.
And I remember trying to do that and stopping after I'd heard something that I did, which I thought was kind of cool, and instantly thinking, like, just panicking. I have no idea what that was just now.
Yeah. It's interesting.
It's painful.
It is painful. Yeah.
It's very painful.
Painfully interesting.
Not knowing what you've just done is incredibly painful.
Yeah.
Well, on my end anyway, I don't know.
When somebody turns around and goes, I really like that, and you kind of go, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just do exactly the same thing twice now. Ooh. Yes. So with Alarmist, you previously mentioned to me you've been playing with two of the guys for a long period of time. Was that pretty much you got the kit and the three of you were getting together playing music? Or?
We had already been playing together. I should have mentioned before the kit, I had one of those Yamaha toy pad things that have the two little foot pedals.
Oh,
so
I think I remember them.
So
Yeah.
Had the hi-hat and the kick, so you could kind of get the coordination going. And
nice.
Generally, I was able to sort of listen to stuff and figure out what they were doing. You know, air drum along with permanent markers and headphones to my heart's content.
They sound great, permanent markers.
They do sound wonderful, especially in the air. But so we had started sort of playing together with my crappy box of non-tricks, and they had their basic instruments. So we were sort of jamming from really young age, making horrendous stuff, which we still have tapes of.
Which we can't wait to hear.
Oh yeah,
look out for that.
Yeah, I'm gonna post that everywhere soon.
Cool.
Yes.
We'll hold you to that.
Please.
We have you on camera saying as much.
Perfect.
Yeah. Barry, Ellis, it's going to be everywhere. Yous are going to be huge, boys. We're going to have to make sure they watch now, actually.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, hold them hostage.
I'll hold them down, yeah. Sorry?
It's nothing.
It's gone.
So, and then you got the kit and you guys continued to play. Fantastic. And then you went to college, you mentioned. You went to the same college I did.
I did indeed, Oisín.
Except you did 3 years?
I went over to do a year course in Drumtech, which became Tech Music School when I moved over, which has since become BIM London.
BIM London.
BIM bought all of that stuff up.
They own everything.
They own everything. So that was good. I went over to do a year course, and that was my first actual formal teachings / learnings.
Yeah.
And it was great. It was amazing. It was totally deep end stuff though, because it was like, you know, there was proper musical theory, and I had essentially bluffed my way onto the course. I was good at all of this stuff.
Man, I did the same thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Had to be done.
Yeah. Too right.
But then I'm glad I did though, because when I got there, it was like you didn't really need to have that super high level because they kind of went very quickly at the start of the course through all the basics. Like in about 2 weeks, they just blasted through it all. And that was enough.
Yeah, I remember there was a very good theory teacher there when I was there called Andrew McKinney, I think his name was.
Yeah, he's now the head of music.
Music.
Yes.
Yeah.
He is. He's like the main guy there for the
He
course.
was very good though. He was very good. And I remember like not really knowing anything when I went in there. And as you say, you kind of you bluff your way in.
Yeah.
Do you know this? And then they kind of you'll sit down in the class learn about triads and arpeggiation, whatever they're called, arpeggies.
You've done well.
Like
They're those little islands that surround us.
what the hell's an arpeggi?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're the
Arpeggios. Yeah.
archipelagos.
Archipelagos.
What's the islands?
What's the islands, Ro? Are they archipelagos?
Those are the ones.
They're the ones.
Perfect.
Thanks.
So I learned all about them in my first 2 weeks.
Cool, great. But that school is amazing for the fact that it gives you a very broad sort of cross section of different styles and stuff like that. It doesn't focus on a single thing at all. So you kind of, from listening to the way you play, you can hear that you've got so many different influences.
Yeah.
You can hear that you would have studied a bit of jazz, you would have studied a lot of the pop and the rock stuff.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, it's a fantastic place to hone skills anyway.
Definitely. Like it's all vocabulary. Like it's all about the words. And I realised that. But this is the other thing about if you don't kind of remember what you just did, or if you don't know what you're just doing, and it's all essentially words, little musical words. If you don't remember the words, you can't say other sentences. So it's nice to be able to
remember the words
and learn the words, know the different ways you can speak musically, etc.
That's a really nice way of putting it, actually. It is, but it is all vocabulary, obviously.
Yeah,
like everything is.
And knowing kind of what works in certain situations, because like everyone gets to that point where you have these certain things you're really good at saying and you want to say them all the time. It's not always going to happen.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can't stop yourself though. And you know it's coming. You're like, I know what I'm about to do, and I kind of know it's not going to work. But I'm doing it.
Yeah. It's infuriating. It's possibly one of the most painful experiences as a drummer. Just feeling kind of utterly helpless when you're in the process of, as you say, saying that word, and you just like absolutely like despair. It's just there it is again.
Yeah.
Oh well, what are you gonna do?
Not say it again.
So Alarmist formed many years ago. At what point do you think you guys kind of, started playing the sort of stuff that you play now? And how first of all, how would you describe the music like?
Such an asshole.
Yeah, do it. Tell us. Tell the world.
I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's instrumental music.
Yeah.
Comprised of modern instruments that involve drum kits.
Yeah.
There was 2 drummers, one of which went to Australia. Thanks, Neil.
Thanks, Neil.
Thanks for going to Australia. Looking forward to the gig in Belfast in less than 2 weeks without you. It's going to be really easy. So that's cool. Keyboards, guitars, electronics. So it's a mishmash of loads of stuff going on, and it crosses loads of different genres. It's it's jazzy, which is a dirty word to many people. It's kind of rocky, which is equally a dirty word to some people.
Yeah.
It's somewhere fusiony, I guess, just in terms of the amount of sounds.
Which is a really dirty word.
Filth. Prog.
Ooh.
Oh, I need to clean up myself.
Watch yourself.
Thanks.
Okay.
All right.
But I don't know. I like the idea that it's just music.
Yeah, exactly. Like all the songs are very different, and ultimately we don't really care what. Not that we don't care what we're doing. We're not trying to fit an overall thing.
But the point of it is that it's the 3 of you now. The 3 of you playing those instruments. Thus, it will always sound like you guys. Each of you has a very individual way of approaching an instrument.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
And as a result, it kind of almost
like with anyone, any band.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember getting kind of bothered by the concept of things having to sound specific ways in order to fit with other things and so on in previous band situations, and just getting really kind of fed up of that concept. Just for the simple fact that these specific people playing these specific instruments will always sound somewhat familiar or whatever.
Yeah. There is an argument for having an overall, like in the context of an album, say you want an overall album sound, but you're gonna get that if you're recording it all in the same place with the same gear, all that kind of stuff in itself is a glue over the whole thing. So to sort of get bogged down on a really early stage of creativity where you think this isn't going to work because it's this way too over here. It's like, often that's a good thing. If you think it's way too over there, then it could end up being a point of interest in the overall thing.
Let's talk about influences.
Okay.
And specifically,
Let's
do you
see,
remember the first kind of music that you would have listened to and thought, oh, I want to get involved in music now? Or do you come from a house that listened to a lot of music?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
My dad, in particular, was a mad music head. Having never really played anything himself, he sort of tried a bit of trumpet, a little bit when he was a kid. But he's got really, really good taste. And there's many an evening where he's standing about 3 inches away from the stereo, sort of drunkenly staring at a guy. And I would walk in, and this happened so many times over so many different albums and artists. He'd say, "This is the best album ever." And he would just stand there and air guitar or air whatever instrument it was.
Okay.
And yeah, there was a lot of that going on. And
Nice.
I realise now that must have had a pretty big effect, I guess.
Yeah.
But influences, yeah, I mean, Queen were my childhood thing.
Oh wow.
Whereas like I had a classic Queen tape and I would listen to that all the time and jump around.
The song or
Yes,
saying you would jump
I would.
around to Queen or the song jump around?
Both. I would put on the Queen album and put it on silent and then put on Jump Around
Put on jump around.
and pretend that it was Queen.
Both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of a
So if anyone
conscientious-
asks, what are you listening to? You can hold up. It's Queen playing.
It's Queen.
It's Queen.
And they say, no, it's not. And I say, well, how is it not?
Mm.
Look at what's in the... Great times.
Cool. Drumming wise, what do you think?
What do I think?
Don't worry about it. No one's judging.
It's fine. Drumming wise, Dave Grohl, I guess when I was a kid, I was obsessed with Nirvana
Yeah.
and Smashing Pumpkins. So Grohl and Chamberlain. So I had Grohl was just so solid and groovy.
Yeah.
And it also easily imitable, I thought.
Yeah.
Like when you're young,
I get that.
everything is so clear,
I
you
get
know
that.
exactly what's going on.
You see, I think that's part of, if not most of the charm of their music, is that it was so approachable and accessible.
Mm.
Like a kid can pick up a guitar and play that
Yeah,
tune.
exactly.
Like, who doesn't know the chorus to Smells Like Teen Spirit? But aside from me, who doesn't know the chorus to Smells Like? I probably could though. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, of course
but aside from that, I mean,
Thank you, Les.
yeah. But there you go. Like that's how beautiful it is that it's that accessible. And sure, who wouldn't want to pick up a guitar knowing that they could probably play those 4 chords?
Yeah, absolutely.
As it were. And again, as you say, Dave Grohl's drumming was something very imitable. Like
Yeah, totally. But still his own, whatever.
yeah.
Just aggressive and tight and groovy.
Mm.
So there's that, and Jimmy Chamberlain from the Pumpkins. Yeah, all about that left foot I had underneath absolutely everything.
Aye.
I loved that.
Yeah.
And everything he did was great, and I would spend ages trying to get the hang of all that kind of stuff. And then it took a while then to branch out into like the sort of technically brilliant drummers. In fact, it didn't really happen until I went to college because I didn't know enough about what they were doing to actually get it and then be able to sort of apply any of it.
Yeah.
But what would I say? Influences wise, I mean, they really do stand out over all the other ones. Because once I got into college, then it was just like the whole spectrum of all the amazing drummers that I wouldn't have known before.
Would it almost have been more about the music than it was the individuals? Do you think?
With the technique heads, like.
Well, just in terms of like you get into college and you're exposed to all of this music that you wouldn't have previously been.
Well, the funny side of that was I wasn't that into much of the music that I was doing.
Really? Yeah.
I mean, like it was enjoyable to do all the styles and stuff. Like from a playing perspective, it was fun, but in terms of like getting a musical kick out of a lot of it, I guess that didn't really happen so much.
Yeah.
But the players though was a totally different thing. So I mean, I'd be watching loads of videos of whatever, like all of the big names of the guys. Like you're better at this. List some names, and I'll say yes.
Well, I remember Matt Cameron was introduced to me during college. Like I knew who he was previous just from having listened to X and Y and Z and so on like that. But
Yeah.
but that was something just specifically regarding rock styles.
Yeah.
Because he had just the most beautiful ability to just remain entirely tasteful, play exactly what a song needed at the right time. Like
Steve Jordan.
yeah, Steve Jordan would have been another one. Like
But like Dennis Chambers and
the kind of the classics, like your
the-
Dennis
totally.
Chambers, Dave Weckl,
Vinnie
Steve
Colaiuta,
Gadd, Vinnie Colaiuta,
all
exactly.
guys,
Like, yeah.
and it's like whoa, and then
Yeah.
and just spending hours just watching them and kind of not really being into the overall music that was happening, but
Yeah,
just
yeah,
being
yeah.
just like just
Yeah.
all about the drums.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a weird. It's kind of detached from the overall musical thing, which is obviously way more important. But I think you have to, as a player, you have to kind of go a bit psycho on the instrument itself on
Yeah,
its own.
absolutely.
Sort of see what's going on and then back off and
Yeah.
not do what they're doing.
Well,
and do
But just to
what's good
understand,
for the music.
to understand what they're doing is forwarding yourself in a
Yeah,
sense,
definitely.
isn't it? Like,
Definitely.
yeah,
It all helps. Like.
it does no harm at all. I remember John Theodore was one actually I was introduced to. One of the guys, there's an American guy there in the year, and he played Delays in the Crematorium for the first time, and I was absolutely astonished. I just didn't think it was
Possible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was a rude awakening of sorts. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I'd seen all the guys before. Like I mean, Dave Wecko would have been the one I would have kind of watched plenty of and thought that's impossible. But
Yeah.
you know, you become more used to it, and it all seemed fairly regular and stuff. But then,
But he still has his moments where you go, that's impossible.
oh yeah, absolutely. But it's absolute technique there.
Yeah,
Whereas
he floats.
he does, he absolutely floats, and it's all the trad grip stuff. And yeah, that's something I was never
He screwed
able
up his
to.
left hand. Did you know that?
I didn't know.
Yeah, like not recently. This has gone back a while. Like he still played all the way through it, but
Yeah.
he kind of had to totally change his technique.
Really?
Yeah.
I have a friend who had to do that.
Dave Weckel.
Yeah, that's rough, isn't
I
it?
don't know to what extent now because he was doing a clinic in London, and he was all taped up. He's like, yeah, I screwed this up totally after like whatever amount of years he's been doing it. So he's kind of had to readjust a little bit. I don't know to what extent, but
That's horrific.
yeah.
It's a great
Because
story.
considering he looks like he just totally floats.
Well, yeah, it's an
interesting.
entirely natural sort of thing. I don't look at it and think, oh, that looks awkward or anything. Well, I do because it's trad grip, but like, well, no, that's just my kind of.
Yeah.
When I pick up a stick and try and do that, it's like.
Yeah. Me too.